I guess that clock means we start, right? I'm going to be very brief on my comments, and I'm going to let you all get back to business. But first, let me first say thank you so much for agreeing to serve on this Land Bank Commission. I thought about it for several years. I've been watching Little Rock and how they operate their Land Bank Commission, and I said it's time that Jonesboro really needs one desperately. And the reason for that is, and you'll find out in your book under your the ordinance that we passed, so the purpose of this entire commission that you all serve on. And it basically states is that to reverse urban blighted areas, increase home ownership, stability of property values, and also provide affordable housing, and also improve the health and safety in the neighborhood. And basically, bottom line, what that's really saying is I ride patrol on Friday nights is that I see all these areas that needed our code enforcement that we're out very active on now. We're tearing down about 50 homes a year on the average. So I've been here 10 years, so we've actually demolition, or they have increased or went back and changed, built them to code, over 500 homes in this city. That may not mean a lot to you, but that's a lot of homes. That's not including through our CBDG, which can fund and give money into this program for you all, but to do rehab and winterization and various things for low and moderate income here in town. We were very blessed last week to get a letter that in Trump administration that increased what we get through our CBDG. Last year we got about $538,000, and next year we'll get over $625,000. So that's good, and that goes to show you that we're doing a good job in the grants division through our CBDG program. So I just want to say thank you very much for what you do, and this is very important, seriously. For me to convince the council, 12 people, to have this and for them to adopt this program, I'm very blessed in that. And also the success I see in Little Rock with Mark Stodel, Mayor Stodel, and the land bank down there, they're just incredible. Jonathan's been there. Several people has been and watched their board meetings in Little Rock and what they've done. They've literally closed on entire subdivisions. I don't know, I couldn't tell you the number of acreage that they have in their land bank, but it's big time. And so we're starting off, and we'll go slow and take our time and make sure that we do everything properly. But this is a lot better than in the past when people would come in and tell the mayor, I've got this land and I'd like to give it to you and I don't need it. The city takes it, they bring it in, we don't need it, and then we find we got problems with the land. That don't happen anymore with this. It has to be appraised, all those things come in, has to be approved by the council, so the mayor don't just take this land in. Since I've been mayor, I've probably sold multi-millions of dollars worth of land that's sitting out there that now is in cash in the bank that we can be using for other services of the city that we never would use that land at all. And so that's another reason we wanted this land bank to be here. So I just want to say thank you for agreeing to serve on this. And I'm going to back out and let you all get started, Jonathan, and appointed Jonathan. Jonathan's got a master's degree in public administration and has been working in the planning division and did a great job there. And so we want to give him an opportunity and stretch his wings, and he's going to have a lot of wingspan on this one on the land bank. So thank y'all very much, and we appreciate it. And oh, by the way, in your book, and it'll tell you, but again, is that the administration will back y'all all the way. In fact, Bill Resenchek, who is our CFO, will be handling the funds and et cetera and things of that for you all in that. Bill's a CPA and had his own practice in Memphis, Tennessee, and also worked in the global operation. So we're real proud to have him. And of course, Roy Oker needs no introduction, and Roy is working as interim COO for me now and keeping me straight on a day-to-day basis. So we appreciate that. But anyway, if y'all have any questions, be glad to answer them. But I just want to say thank you again. I'm going to let y'all get down so you can get out of here. If you're like the council, you want to be out of here in a certain time frame, right? You got things to do. And Ray's doesn't give me the signal to shut up. So that's it. Thank y'all. Appreciate it very much.
All right, the first thing on our agenda is roll call, so I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. Commissioner Durham?
Present.
Commissioner Hurden?
Present.
Commissioner Hollywood?
Present.
Commissioner Martin is absent. Commissioner Mills?
Present.
Commissioner Moore?
Present.
Commissioner Osment,
Present.
Commissioner Warner, and Commissioner Zolfer.
Present.
All right. Obviously, we don't have old minutes to approve or anything listed under old business, so we're going to skip down to number 5, which is our new business, and Mayor Perrin's already addressed the commission. So what we need to do at this time is go ahead and vote for a chairman and a vice chairman. And do we have any proposals? Does anybody want to be the chair? And if you do so, please make that in the form of a motion with a second, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we have Bob Warner serve as our chair. He's the senior statesman here in this group, and I think that would be a good choice for us.
Okay. Do I have a second? Second. All right, I got a first and a second. So everybody that agrees, say yes.
Yes?
All right. Any opposed? All right. So it sounds like we've got our chairman. Now we need to do the same thing to elect a vice chair.
Who's the youngest here? James?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move that we have James be the vice chairman, so we have the oldest and the youngest, and we have a continuation down the road.
All right. Do I get a second? All right. I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You opposed? All right. Congratulations, guys. All right. All right, moving on to the second thing that's on our agenda. I've had numerous people ask when we're going to be meeting throughout the month. That is really y'all's decision to make. I can offer some recommendations, but at the end of the day, y'all have to approve them. Does anyone have any suggestions as to when they would like to meet? Do y'all have any preferences?
I just have one comment on it. The third Thursday of every month, I'm serving on a board for the CRDC, and they meet that day, so that's a little tough for me, but
Okay.
anything else would work.
Would y'all rather meet during the day?
I would, but you're asking.
Can everybody get away during the day? All right.
Can I just make a comment toward that, just a thought? That, it could be very convenient for us to meet during the day. Is it convenient for the people that we might want to be interacting with? And the reason I bring that up, sometimes a lot of folks try to get to what is the MAPC meets at maybe 4 o'clock or something.
We have a 3 o'clock and a 5:30.
Yeah.
And it's not all that convenient.
It's not all that convenient for the people who need to come before those people, is my only comment, but I agree with it. I don't
I
want
get it, my kids have something
Yeah.
he coaches and Brent's got kids, I don't know everybody else, that's just, but nothing's gonna be perfect, so, I mean,
You're right. Well, like in regards to, I see the
Yeah,
note that you made,
late
the
afternoon,
deadline for
not
submittal
late.
to the city council being Thursday, do we, we need to keep that in mind?
Well, anything obviously that we approve has to be then forwarded to the council for their approval. So what most people do, like the planning commission, for example, is they schedule their meeting on the previous Tuesday so that if something gets approved on a Tuesday, they can get it to Ms. Jackson by Thursday, and then the following Tuesday, the council can vote on it. So you only have a week where you're having to wait. Whereas if we meet the same week as the city council, anytime you make a decision, then you're going to be pushing back city council's decision at least 2 weeks. So that's why I recommend we meet kind of the same week as the planning commission. I don't really care the time, but if we could.
Let me ask this, if we decided, for instance, to meet in a daytime, which seems like it'd be convenient for a lot of folks,
Yeah.
we could change it later on if it became an issue, couldn't we?
Yeah, we can. We can always amend it if we need to. This is really, I'll be here either way, regardless. So for me, it's no issue at all.
You know, the planning commission will meet on the second and fourth
Second and fourth Tuesday.
Tuesdays. Why don't we take the third Tuesday and do a 3 o'clock meeting?
Council meet on the first and third.
Yeah, city council will meet
That's
on
what
the
they're
1st and
saying.
3rd.
To
Okay.
keep that overlap from being every other week, so we basically need to meet sometime on that.
The second and the fourth.
I know on the second Tuesday, they meet at 5:30, but I'm sure there's probably finance.
Finance is the second and last Tuesday at 4.
What time do they start? Oh, at 4? The way Little Rock does theirs, they meet during lunch. So they'll meet from 11 to 12 or 12 to 1.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, you mentioned me earlier, we try to hold it to an hour, hour and a half at the most.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm respectful of everybody's time because like everybody's pointing out, we all have other things going on. So I want to try to keep it in a time that's
What
convenient
would
and as
everybody
short as
think about
possible.
lunchtime meeting?
Tuesday at lunch?
We could just bring lunch in and, or we could just pick it up on the way, and then if there was somebody from the public, lunch is, I mean, it's not perfect, but
But they can come.
there's an opportunity possibly, anyway.
You think
That would be
lunch is
good with
okay?
me.
Yeah.
So the second Tuesday at noon,
That's fine.
is that fine? Can I get that in the form of a motion so we can get voted?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we make it the second Tuesday of the month at noon here at the council chambers.
Becky, are you and John, are you guys okay with that down there?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Lunchtime?
All right. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we will be meeting on the second Tuesday of every month at noon.
Now, will that begin in June or July?
That is the next point I was going to bring up in relation to this. I recommend, as we get down farther into the agenda, there's going to be things, we're going to be reviewing our policies and we're going to review our bylaws. I don't think tonight's the time. I'm not sure if everybody's had the opportunity to review those. I would like for y'all to take these folders home at some point and look through them. And feel free to stop by my office or call me, or we can meet for breakfast or whatever. Shoot me an email and get those comments to me at a later point. I don't want to have to make everybody review this tonight, obviously. So that being said, addressing when we're going to start, I would like to have another special called meeting to address these forms at a later point, give y'all time to look over them. So if we want to start the second Tuesday of June, that would be okay. Just keep in mind that we have a time constraint. We have to get this information to council within 90 days of y'all being appointed. And y'all, I think Becky was appointed last and she was done on April 17th. So that means April, May, June, July 17th. We have to have this ready to go to council. So we don't want to push it too far back and burn days. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, if we had time between now and the second Tuesday in June, we'd have time to review this and get our comments to you and be able to vote on bylaws and policies at that meeting then.
I apologize for interrupting, but we're recording the procedure and the microphones are not all on. So do y'all mind turning your microphones on because it's not picking up on the recording otherwise?
Sorry about that.
As, I'm guessing the city attorney has already looked over all the forms that you have.
City
in place.
attorneys looked over all of them. Actually, the majority of what you're reading when you go through the priorities and policies and your bylaws, a majority of that came from both our city attorney and a combination of Daryl in planning and I think Craig in engineering. So a majority of your city officials have already had a chance to review this. Now there could be, Mr. Zolfer stopped by, there could be a few things that we want to change to kind of tailor it to y'all's expertise or whatever y'all guys want to do, which is fine with me. Just let me know. And if you're okay, we'll go ahead and we can meet the second Tuesday, and that'll give everybody plenty of time to review the policies and the bylaws and get questions to me. And then we can discuss it at that meeting, if that's okay. And that'll save us from having to have another special called meeting, if that's what y'all want to do.
That'll put us on the 12th of June, correct?
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but
June 12th.
June 12th.
So,
I'll make a motion that we have our next meeting on June 12th
All right, that's
at noon at the council chambers.
And I don't think I necessarily need a motion because that's when it's going to be from now on anyway, because you've approved it already. So next one's going to be June 12th. And moving on to the next item. So commissioners for this commission will be appointed to 4-year terms. Y'all are the initial commissioners. So if you read through the ordinance that was created, the city council back in December, the initial commissioners have to draw lots to determine how you're going to rotate off. So 5 of y'all will draw and be on here for 4 years. The other 4 will draw and you'll be on here for 2 years. And I tried to find a better way of drawing lots, but I couldn't find anything. So here we go. We're going to have to draw out of this. If you get a 4, obviously, you're going to be here for 4 years. If you get a 2, you'll be here for 2. So I'll start over here. Okay? Please just draw 1 because I don't have any extra. There you go.
Is it 1:30?
Unless you asked me to report him, I don't think you would.
I didn't know.
I assume.
That's 1. Yeah, that's
I think they grabbed up 2s down there.
all right. You got 1, and the last one's going to be Grant 2 out.
That's right, we have one that's not here.
All right. So, everybody look at your paper. All right, so if you got a 4, could you please raise your hand so I can make note?
You young guys need.
All right. So, we got Ray, Jeremy, Corey, James, and sure, Jeff. All right, and then I'm assuming everyone else got a 2, right? Okay, so Becky, Brent, Dr. Warner, and Mr. Zoper. Okay. All right. So I will get that information to Crystal in the mayor's office, and we'll put that in Legistar so y'all can keep track of when you're going to roll off of the commission. All right, so the next thing on our agenda I've already briefly mentioned, and that's our priorities and policies for property acquisition and disposition. There's been some confusion or some questions, not necessarily confusion, about what this document is. It's actually going to serve as our redevelopment plan, and this is going to address topics such as focus areas. It's going to help us determine who we're going to sell property to, what properties we're going to be able to take in, things like that. So when you get a chance, review that. And this is going to be the type of stuff that we talk about at our next meeting. And the same idea and the same concept is going to apply to our land bank bylaws. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our policies and procedures and we'll incorporate those into our bylaws. So at the next meeting, focus on those 2 documents. And if you want to shoot me an email or come by my office, we can talk about any questions you have at that point, or we can discuss them at June 12th meeting. Does anybody have any questions specifically now? Look through it.
Again, I know I'm not essential to that meeting, but I just looked and I actually am scheduled to a CME conference on June 12th, so I won't be able to be here. I'll be out of state.
Okay. That just means our vice chair will have to step in temporarily and take over.
That's what you get for being the youngest, I guess.
I did have a couple of conversations about different things in there. So like I said, if you have any questions, I know there's nothing specific now, but if you have any questions between now and June 12th, feel free to email me or come by my office and we'll answer them, or if not, we'll talk about it on the 12th, okay? All right. So the next thing, again, will be the land bank documents that you're going to be seeing when you get the agenda on the 12th. Well, you probably won't see all these on the 12th, but when we start buying and selling property, These are going to be some of the documents that you will get in addition to the agenda. And the same idea is going to apply here. Look through them, and if you have specific questions, get with me. There's a land disposition application, a contract, a real estate contract, a donation application. There's also a letter of interest in there. And when we get to the point where we want to send out and start trying to acquire certain properties, this letter of interest, whether it's going to be for donation or to purchase outright, this letter of interest is what we're going to send to the owner in an attempt to, obviously make contact with them and tell them we're interested in the property. So look that over. Let me know if you have anything that y'all guys feel like we need to change. If not, we'll keep it the way it is. Carol's already, our city attorney's already looked it over, said everything's good with that. So the only changes would be any of y'all's feedback that we got with that. After looking through these documents, is there any questions that y'all guys would like to ask at this point? I know it's a lot in this folder, but everything that's on the agenda that we've referred to is in here at one tab or another. If you have any specific questions right now, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll focus on this at the next meeting.
Jonathan, it might be useful just to mention to everybody that the land bank, I want to say in Little Rock meets, is it the third Wednesday? Do you remember?
Yeah, they meet the third Wednesday at noon.
And so, and they've indicated that any of us are welcome to come sit in for one meeting just to see. They've been doing this for 20 years.
They've been doing it for several years.
Yeah.
The exact number slips my mind, but they've been doing it for quite a while. And, not only when I've been going down to these meetings, not only are they willing to, obviously let you sit in on their meetings and kind of show you how these things operate, but they've been taking me around to some of their different projects. And you can get a sense for how it's going to come across in the meeting and then how it's actually implemented in real life. And you can see it go from a area that wasn't really being developed and underserved and all that stuff. And then you can see how it looks after they're complete with a project. And so at any point in time, if y'all guys are interested in doing that, I can always call Little Rock and get with them and see if they would be okay with some of us coming down there and actually seeing that type of stuff. Y'all just let me know.
Hey, Jonathan, I would be more than glad to attend in person. But I do want to know if they have the option to be able to watch live broadcasts.
That's something I hadn't even asked. I can find out and get it to you.
They do.
I'm assuming they do.
It's on their website.
I know they record it and put their meetings on their website, but I'm not sure if it's done live. So let me ask, and I'll shoot you an email and get that to you tomorrow. Okay? Sound good?
Good idea. I didn't know that.
And just for a point of reference, our meetings, they are being broadcast live, but they're also being recorded. I know a lot of y'all are familiar with how the Planning Commission operates and City Council, and you're familiar with being able to go online and get the agenda, and it's on Legistar. Our agendas and our videos and minutes, because of how the software works, we can't incorporate that onto Legistar, so they'll actually be on the Civic Plus Jonesboro.org website. So you'll get on to the Land Bank website and find that. If you have any questions about that as well, I'll be more than happy to help you. Before every meeting, I'll be sending out all the packets anyway, so you don't have to worry about not getting an agenda. But if you ever want to go back and look at the video or read the minutes again or what have you, I can show you where those are found, okay? It's going to be a little different than how the council and other commissions and committees work that you're familiar with, but I can show you where to find the information, okay?
I know we have to have this all with City Council by July 17th. Do you have a date in mind as far as like if there's a letter of interest you're wanting to send out? I mean, as far as when you're kind of wanting the process to begin?
I've had, conversations with various people. Honestly, I've already I've told them they have to wait on a couple of property donations. I've had a few people approach me about stuff like that. I've identified, obviously, over the course of the past few years, the city's been accumulating liens on certain lots. So we've already got that information. What we need to do, and that kind of ties into our next point on the agenda, is when we get to the point where we want to start trying to acquire certain properties, we need to establish a focus area where we're going to spend a majority of our resources. We don't want to try to skip all over and then you won't really notice any changes. So we want to identify maybe one or two areas that we want to partner with CDBG funding on, or an investor or whoever, right? We want to focus all of our resources on a specific area, go in, make real change to that community, and then we can move our resources other places as we progress. So tying into your question, do I have a time frame? I've already got individuals interested in donating. I've already got lots that have liens accumulated on them. There's obviously vacant properties. I don't know where to target or where to focus my resources until y'all approve a focus area. So I've got the letters ready to go. I've got properties identified, but until y'all approve a focus area, I'd just be sending letters out all over Jonesboro.
How do we do that?
How do you establish a focus area? Well, you can just pick one if you wanted to. I can provide you with some information that'll help with your decision. We look at, they call them proxies in Little Rock, but essentially it's targets, it's vacant lots, it's low to moderate income housing, it's properties with current liens on them, it's abandoned properties, boarded up properties. So there's these properties that you can map, and I can map them using our GIS system. And essentially you'll see a pattern appear, right? And obviously you want to, if it was my decision, you would want to make that decision with the most properties that have issues, right? Whether it's abandoned or whether it's liens or whether it's undeveloped. And if I can show you a map, but essentially I can provide you with the information to help make that decision easier. But you know, one of the easiest things to do, and what I did getting started, and I got with Bill on a couple of occasions, and we just drove. We got out in the community, and we went, and you know, our focus is urban blight, is what it starts off by saying. And so we went out and we just drove some of our communities to see what areas of town could use the assistance, right? And then we tied that into city properties that had liens on them, and properties that were being condemned with boarded up housing. And that, when you take all that information, it'll point you in a direction, right? And so that's, you know, if you'll let me give you that information, it'll help in your decision, but ultimately it'll have to be y'all's decision as to where we go.
Can you present with that information?
Yeah, I can send that information to you in an email even before our next meeting. That's kind of what I've been working on over the past 2 or 3 months. Is that type of information. I was just going to hold off to start on that side of things because that moves more toward property acquisition. I think it would be a little wise to get the administrative stuff out of the way, get your bylaws and your policies and procedures established and approved, so that when you get to the point where somebody comes and they want to donate your property or donate their property and you get 2 people who want to purchase it, you've already got a established foundation and a way of deciding who's going to get that piece of property, right? You don't want to start acquiring property without first having your policies established. And so that's my only comment on that. But I can get that information to you, no problem, if y'all want.
You would accept input from anybody on the commission as well to look at some areas?
Oh, yeah. That's one of the reasons why I was so, I guess, pushy to get the commission started. Is I've been doing this as a one-man department for the past three or 4 months. I'm open to anybody's opinion, anybody's feedback. If you have an area of expertise that you would like to assist in, that's perfectly fine.
Or if you have an area in the city that you thought might need.
Yeah, if you have any.
Consider as a focus group, you could research it for someone if they brought it up.
Yeah, if you give me the information or if you point me in a direction, That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve and help y'all guys make decisions. Any way I can do that, I'll be glad to help. So if y'all guys have anything, like I said, any questions, anything like that, come by my office or shoot me an email, and we'll research it and get you the information.
There's a few areas that I was able to witness that met with Jonathan on regarding. There's an area by the Success School, close to the baseball fields. I believe that'd be a good area of interest to focus in to help bring baseball and to bring that park area back up to par. There's an area down the street down here at the Huntington location. Those just two areas that was able to witness and see if we can be able to focus in on.
And I'll just say, kind of tying into what he said, if there's at any point y'all want to meet and show me some areas around town that you would like to focus your efforts on, kind of like I've done with James, we can get together and y'all can show me, and we'll talk about the opportunities. Okay. But I got to reiterate, just because we show an area, we don't want to pick 5 or 6 different places. We want to come to a decision as a group and focus on 1 or 2.
Well, man, I think it makes sense to pull up the GIS system and see how dense of an area there is where we already have land acquired or a better chance to acquire land.
Yeah, well, what you'll find is it's going to be a unique combination of, again, this is kind of getting a little off topic, but what you'll find when you look at this information, it's going to be a combination of various different mechanisms, right? So some properties will have liens. Some properties will just be undeveloped, right? And so, yeah, maybe we can acquire the properties that have liens, but in order to acquire the undeveloped property, you'll just have to purchase that outright. And, maybe some of them are homeowners, so if they qualify and meet the income limits, we can partner with CDBG funding one. So it'll be, you're not just going to find, if you look at that GIS map, you're not just going to find a large area of Jonesboro that has, 10 or 20 lots that just have liens all over them. But what you'll find if you start looking at it is a combination of undeveloped lots, existing homeowners, and properties that have liens. And you take that unique mix and you can turn those areas into your projects and really work and rehab those areas. Make sense? I'll send out the information here in the next day or two, and y'all can look over and see what I'm referring to. And that ties into our focus areas. And if there's no other comments about that, the only other thing is public comment. But I don't see a public comment. So we'll move on to item number 7, which is adjournment. Can I
Let me make one comment
Okay.
though, about what you just said, the diversity in the various properties, land, vacant land or
Yes, sir.
lien land or people with needing home improvement. I think maybe everybody would benefit on the commission to take, I guess I'd say, a stewardship role in this, because it's a new endeavor for the city. And that is that when we do pick a focus area or pick how we want to proceed, that we look for what I guess I would hate to use the term, but low-hanging fruit, some success stories to get us started on a really strong foundation. And so that impact and that focus area, it needs to be in a really positive light so that people can see the benefit of this, because it has made a huge difference in Little Rock as an example.
Yeah.
And in areas where people needed help, in the blighted areas, it's really, really made an impact. And so I think if we view things from that perspective, we might at least have early successes before we tackle anything too controversial. It would be
And there are areas, you can make it, I guess, as complex as you want to. Sure. And you can get as many parties involved as you want to, I guess. But there are areas, like you were referring to, that would be low-hanging fruit, I guess. That would be easy projects to get completed. And, it would be great practice not only for, myself at the staff level, but it would be good practice to take each commissioner through the process of, completing the development project. And so we can address that as well. But, y'all guys can also be my eyes and ears. So when you go back out in the community, just look for areas that you would like to focus on and get that information to me. And then we'll discuss more about our policies and our procedures and our bylaws and focus areas at the next meeting. Okay? Sound good? All right. So I guess the next item on our agenda is adjournment. Can I get a motion? and a
Motion
second?
to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right. I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Any opposed? All right. Thanks, guys.